Finally, I have finished writing the last story in my science fiction adventure series, Signposts at the Edge of the Universe. Now, I must move on to Phase 2 and get them published. I will start by sending Astonishing Tales, my first story, The Peak Experiences Within. Good day. This is Jack Bradbury, of Bangor, Maine. Dear Mr. Ray Asimov, I am sending you a manuscript of my short story, The Peak Experiences Within. I am hoping that you will enjoy the story and find it fascinating enough to publish in your magazine, Astonishing Tales. Dear Sir Asimov, I am hoping you will see fit to publish my short story in your magazine, Astonishing Tales. Sincerely, Jack Bradbury.
Dear Mr. Jack Bradbury, of Bangor, Maine. We are returning your manuscript, The Peak Experiences Within. At first glance, I found it astonishingly written. A marvelous tale of adventure, laced with profound wisdom, and deep thought-provoking passages. But why wouldn't I be? So did the editors of Wonder Stories in 2051. As you know, it was the great Isaac R. Heinlein who wrote the story, Searchlight, the story that you tried to pass off as original. Let me give you some words of caution concerning the penalties resulting from such obvious plagiarism. It's not worth it. Believe me. Sincerely, Ray Asimov, editor of Astonishing Tales.
Dear Mr. Asimov, editor of Astonishing Tales, I have never heard of Isaac R. Heinlein or the story Searchlight. Let me assure you, every last word of The Peak Experiences Within was written by me on my palm pad. Any similarity between this story by Heinlein is purely coincidental. I have been reading science fiction literature for nearly 70 years, and I have never heard of this Isaac R. Heinlein guy. Sincerely, Jack Bradbury.
Dear Mr. Jack Bradbury, while the editors of Astonishing Tales are not in the habit of making open accusations against plot makers, we are aware that plot ideas may overlap from time to time. It is also nearly impossible that an avid follower of science fiction could have missed the one and only, the great Isaac R. Heinlein. FYI, Isaac R. Heinlein is no longer amongst us, and his works only became famous after his death in 2023. Besides being an author of amazing stories, Mr. Heinlein worked on virtual reality games. It is there that Heinlein made his name, publishing the most popular game in all of history, Stranger in a Strange Land. Heinlein had a great mind. It has been reported that for the last decade of his life, he was working transferring stories from one mind to another through the ether, as he called it. He was a lot like the inventor, Nikola Tesla. All of this history aside, Mr. Bradbury, your story is not just an overlap, it is word for word a copy of Heinlein's Searchlight. You have violated every copyright law in the book. You are wasting our time. And we are not naive. Sincerely yours, Ray Asimov, editor of Astonishing Tales.
This all appears to be impossible. I need to find a copy of this Isaac R. Heinlein's story, Searchlight. Crikey. May I declare, on my deathbed, Bigfoot is real. I can't believe it. It's word for word the same as my story. How? How in everything that exists in this universe is this possible? Not only does this story match Heinlein's, all my stories match Heinlein's stories, word for word. This shatters everything I think I know. I have always taken a strong stand against anything that even had a hint of ESP or psychic powers. For the next 3 days I was devastated by these findings. What was I to do? I decided to dig in. I started researching and writing a story much like my own recent experiences. The main character received signals from outer space that he turned into stories of his own. And I decided to make it look like the majority of the story happens in messages on their palm pads. It is chock-filled with adventure and has so much wisdom in its words. I have no doubt it's an instant classic. Dear Mr. Asimov, editor of Astonishing Tales, I am enclosing a manuscript of my new plot, Wisdom of 10 Million Galaxies. I have just completed it after months of research and writing sweat. I believe that it is up there, near the top of the pantheon of great literature. Wisdom of 10 Million Galaxies should impress you in every way. Amazing Tales can send the funds to my account without delay, and may I say that I finally may have a satisfactory conclusion to this little box of misery, of which I have found myself enclosed. Respectfully, Jack Bradbury, of Bangor, Maine.
Dear Jack Bradbury, of Bangor, Maine. I am sorry, Amazing Tales cannot at the present time use Wisdom of 10 Million Galaxies. It's a great plot, and is chock-filled with adventure, and it, indeed has, so much wisdom in its words. But, Mr. Bradbury, it is rejected. 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 Your manuscript is an exact copy, word for word, of Isaac R. Heinlein's Elsewhen, his last work, which was published posthumously. It was discovered in his personal Palm Star. There is no doubt in anybody's mind that Isaac R. Heinlein could sure spin a great plot. We thank you for reminding us of its great value, and we will be publishing it in Astonishing Tales in next month's edition. We will be wiring the funds to the Heinlein estate. Cordially, Ray Asimov, editor of Astonishing Tales.
Copyrighted, signed, sealed, and delivered. Is there any part of me, no matter how small, that is original? How can I ever call myself authentic? I'm screwed.